Hello students, today you're going to take Cornell notes on the heart, which is one of the main organs, of course, of the cardiovascular system. Go ahead and set up your notebook and pause the video if you need a second or two, and then this is the kind of video that you come up with a summary and advanced question. If you're ready, let's begin. For number 1, write heart. Heart is an organ that pumps blood throughout your whole body. And your heart is about the size of your fist. And as you grow, your heart gets bigger. So when you were a baby, you had a tiny little fist. You had a tiny little heart, and it beat actually faster than it does now. And as you get older, it beats slower, but it still continues to be about the size of your fist. So there's a lot of parts to the heart, but we're going to talk about just some of the major ones, and that's what we're going to focus on in this video. Just like usual, I come up with the first question, and then you write it down, and then you come up with the other ones. For number 1, you can write, what is the heart? Or you can get a little bit more creative and say, how big is your heart? So feel free to use either one of those. Ready? Let's move on to number 2. Your heart is an involuntary muscle. We've talked about that briefly before when we talked about the muscular system. But we didn't talk about how your brain controls it with electricity. Electrical signals actually travel through your brain, into your nervous system, and eventually into your heart. And this is if somebody's having a heart attack, they use like an electrical, like paddles are called, and they put them in your chest and they send electricity toward your heart because that actually might restart it. Because your heart, let me show you a picture real quick. This picture from Brain Pop has electrical signals that travel through your nerves and eventually to your heart. So it's involuntary. You don't think about sending electricity to it, but you do, and it tells it to, of course, beat. And if it needs to beat faster or slower, it's controlled by that electrical signal. All right, go ahead and come up with your question for 2, and then let's move on to 3 in about a second or 2. Okay, moving on to 3. So the heart has 4 chambers. These chambers are kind of like little caves in the heart, or openings. These chambers pump the oxygen-rich blood. The oxygen comes in from your lungs. We'll talk more about that another day. That oxygen-rich blood into your cells, and then the carbon dioxide filled blood to the lungs. So really the heart is in charge of moving around all that blood that's oxygen-rich and carbon dioxide filled. Take a look at those chambers to see what they look like. Alright, so here are the chambers. So here's 1. So small chamber, 2, 3, and 4. So you have these 2 top ones called the top atriums, or I'm sorry, the more specific, the top left and the top right atrium. And these are smaller than the bottom ones called ventricles. So let me show you that picture. The ventricles are a lot larger. And then usually you see them color-coded blue and red. What this means is that not that your blood is blue, because your blood is not blue. Some people think that you look in your veins and it looks kind of darkish bluish. We'll talk about that another time. But just know that the color coding, usually whenever you see a picture of the heart, it's because red is the oxygen-filled rich blood. And it's blood with a lot of oxygen that's going to your cells. And the blue is the oxygen-poor blood, the blood that has more carbon dioxide. And that one's traveling in and then going to the lungs, and then this one's going to the cells. So just the different directions are usually color-coded blue or red. And that's why they have different colors. So for number 4, the last point for today, the ventricles are the bottom large chambers of the heart, and of course you have your left and your right ventricle, and the atriums are the top 2 chambers, the left and the right atriums. Alright, go ahead and come up with your question for 4, and then don't forget your summary and advanced question. Have a great day.